Hello and welcome to your quick hit from The Seven Hats, a segment that I like to call the Daily Hat. This short segment is a preview, a snapshot of our full episode that's coming up this Thursday. It's here to give you a little bit of insight, spark of inspiration, and just a hint of curiosity about what our full episode has in store for you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for your continued support of the Seven Hats podcast. It really means so much to us. Now, let's dive into today's Daily Hat. Ready to get a taste of what we've got in store for you this week? Let's get started.
So were you on YouTube before Google purchased it? Were you like a real early adapter, or like when did you start?
Very early adopter. So the YouTube, so I started seriously doing YouTube. Well, not seriously. I started that YouTube channel in 2009, but I was on YouTube before that. And my first YouTube channel, I think I opened in 2008, but I was also on YouTube. I think it was in 2007 at some point I got on YouTube, which is the very early days. But I wasn't making content until 2008. I was just making content with friends. And then 2009 is when I built AppFind, which is the app review YouTube channel that went on, to have 500,000 subscribers, and, was kind of the launching point of my main business. But I remember even before YouTube, so I would go on that Video Copilot, and I was pretty young at the time, just to clarify, but I would go on Video Copilot, but I would also go on, there was another site. Oh, I'm trying to remember. It was like Newgrounds, and you could host videos on Newgrounds, but if people didn't like them, they'd get deleted. I don't know if you remember that, but I posted some videos that I had made, and I was like a kid at the time, so I was posting these videos, and they would just get too many downvotes, and then they would just say, sorry, the video's been removed from the platform. So I thought YouTube was so cool because you could just post videos, and people can't just remove. They're not just going to remove them; they're going to keep them there. So,
but what did you want to do? I mean, you started in high school, right? Basically, or before high school?
Yeah, prior to that. So I started my main YouTube channel when I was 12. So a YouTube AppFind. So that was back in 2009. So I'm 26 now. I did start. I know. I started at an early age, but so about 14 years ago. But yeah, started with that channel, AppFind. So that was kind of like in middle school, but I was doing more seriously in high school and in college, right? And so in high school is when I actually started making money with it. So I got accepted in the YouTube partner program, and I remember, it was like my sophomore year of high school. I was making about $60,000 a year from the YouTube channel. And I think it had crossed just about 100,000 subscribers. At that point, I got the 100,000 subscriber plaque, and I was making ad revenue, and I had a few sponsorships. I'd get more sponsorships later on. But I remember I was talking about that just with a friend, and I wasn't even trying to brag. I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this YouTube channel. And I remember one of the teachers in one of those classes that I was in high school came over, and they're like, no way you're doing that. Like, you're lying, whatever. And I'm like, oh, no, I am. So I just pulled it up on one of the school computers or whatever. And he looked at it, and his jaw is kind of dropped. He's like, that's more than I make. And that's when I realized, oh, wow, I have something here. This is pretty cool. So
did you go to college? Like what happened? What did you want to do? Did you at that time were you like, well, YouTube is going to be my career, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or did you have other ambitions?
So I knew I wanted to do entrepreneurial things. I also didn't know, because I knew I liked being creative. And that's also why ultimately marketing and video marketing is what I like. So you could probably see how it's all converging, because there's these two sides to me. I had the side that loves business and entrepreneurship, but I also the side that just loved video. And so I actually thought that I was going to be kind of like a director, executive producer. I mean, also as a kid, you're kind of enamored by Hollywood, and all this stuff. And, and so I thought that I was going to go kind of more into the way I was going to combine my two loves of video and business was going to be in the, kind of movie, TV world of all right. And also leadership, I've always just kind of been a natural kind of leader. And growing up, I did Boy Scouts and stuff like that too, the Eagle Scout, all that stuff. So it kind of leading. And so combining these three things, being good at leading people and liking to lead people, also video and business. And I thought at the time, okay, I'd be a director or producer of movies. But then later on, I realized that actually marketing and video marketing and YouTube marketing, it was right there in front of me, that actually was my calling. And I remember when it actually flipped for me, there was, and I'm sure people listening, like yourself, probably these moments where you hear one thing and it clicks and it completely flips for you. So when I was actually touring college, not too long after that YouTube channel I was talking about that, I was touring. I think this was actually, I didn't end up going there. I went to UMass Amherst, but I was touring, I think, Syracuse, and they had a business track and they had a film track, and I was touring both of them. And I liked the business track. I also liked the film track, but I was looking at like, okay, how, and they were talking about how you could do kind of a dual major. And I remember talking to somebody in the film side, and she, was a film student for several years, and she was posting her videos on Vimeo, and she was showing some videos that she had made. And I said, if you post the videos on YouTube and you add a title, tag, thumbnail, you could have more people watch the video. Because I noticed there's like 12 views, 24 views on the video. And she turned to me and she said, and I remember distinctly, "Oh, I don't care if people watch the video. I just want to make the best video." That's when it hit me. I am not like that at all. I do care if people watch the video. I want people to watch. And I actually care less about it being the best video and more about people watching it and it affecting people and impacting people and like people enjoying it or getting value from it or whatever it happens to be. And that's when I realized, wait a second, it's marketing that I really love. It's not the video. The video is, a medium that I can use for what I'm actually excited and passionate about, which is the marketing side. And then that's when it really clicked for me. I ended up going to UMass Amherst, Eisenberg School of Management, so like the top, like kind of, state school in Massachusetts. I went over there, and the reason I went there is they were like one of the only universities. I got into some other other kind of prestigious universities, but they said, "Oh, your YouTube channel is great, but you're just going to focus on studies when you come here." Versus at UMass, my alma mater, when I went over there, they wanted to encourage me to continue to grow my business. And I remember meeting with the entrepreneurial kind of professor that became like an advisor for me throughout my years there. And I remember him telling me, let's grow this business as much as possible. So this is what you're doing, post-college. And the thing is, I know us, like we're talking about, it's like, I actually went into, by my freshman year of college, I was already making like over 6 figures on my YouTube channel. But I think the thing is I just had, especially with my parents, they had kind of like, they really encouraged me to do things. But also, I think that they were concerned that it wasn't like big enough at that point, that this is a very clear thing. So they were really, not just the college, but also saying like, hey, like, what job are you going to do after college? Even if you're still doing the YouTube side. And I remember myself being like, all right, no, I'm building this business. So I almost saw college and going to college as like this transitionary period, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs that maybe are younger entrepreneurs can, use it this way, which is the kind of the college dorm room business. Like what's going to actually like, how can I use college as almost like an incubator for building the business big enough such that it's at that point where I know it's going to be sustainable longer term. And that's essentially what I did. So I took the YouTube channel, which by that time, had grown to several 100,000 subscribers, was making, over $100,000 a year. That channel, I systematized. I hired scriptwriter, video editor, business development person, all just kind of other college students. And I kind of created an assembly line for the videos, pulled myself out of the business so that I could focus on what was next. Because with YouTube, I saw there was more linear growth. Also, by that time, it was starting to die down a little bit in terms of popularity around mobile apps. iPhones had now gone to like 10 iterations, so it was less exciting than earlier on. And so I was like, okay, what's next? And that's when I had this mobile app that had sponsored me for a video. And I had, dozens and dozens of over, 100 of these, but I had a mobile app. They sponsored me for a video. I did the video. They got a bunch of downloads. This is great. Can you post the video again another time? And I said, well, hey, like it doesn't work like that. You can't just post the same video twice and double the results. But what if we take this video and we run it as an ad on YouTube? And this was about 8 years ago now. So back in like 2015. So this is still the earlier days of YouTube ads, right? And so they were a little skeptical. But I take the video, I run it as an ad, and we spend $500 on it, and they get thousands and thousands of users, over 11,000 users. So they're blown away. So they, have another app that they were kind of, that they had under their umbrella. And so then we promote that, and that does even better. And we keep kind of running some of these promotions because they're ads, right? So we keep them running. And I remember them calling me up. They're like, Aleric, we want you to drop out of college, fly out here to Silicon Valley, join our team. You can keep your YouTube channel. We'll give you a 6-figure salary. We'll give you stock options, the whole thing. And it was tempting for a minute, but I think like a lot of people listening to this call as entrepreneurs, like we want to build it ourselves. Even if it starts as a smaller castle, I want to be the king of my own castle, building it up as opposed to the knight in somebody else's. And so essentially I turned it down. It was tough because this was also between my freshman and sophomore year of college. But that's when I realized I have something here. And I ended up creating, ad outreach that summer. What became ad outreach at first, it was YouTube ads for mobile apps. And then we evolved into, of course, YouTube ads for, different businesses.